Karoline Leavitt makes her debut as White House press secretary. President Trump delivers on his illegal alien crackdown. Plus, General Mark Milley is learning what karma is all about. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
God bless the United States of America.
Good evening, friends, and welcome to the 13-minute news hour. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with not only the debut of White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, but the remarkable job the entire Trump team is doing with handling the media. Now, we've seen this building for a while, for several years in fact, but if there is anything the November elections unleashed was this realization by the American people that we don't have to take it anymore. The majority of Americans don't think like the left-wing governing elite. We don't have to follow their orders. We don't have to sit and be quiet for fear of being canceled. We are not afraid anymore. If the media come at us, we can and will give it right back. Now, I've personally had fun doing that for years, but what we've seen with the new Trump administration is a masterclass of how to dissect, diffuse, and dismantle a hostile media. Here's Trump's Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, dealing with CNN's Jake Tapper.
The Department of Agriculture says that between 2020 and 2022, 42% of crop workers were undocumented immigrants. And in many cases, as you know, these migrants do jobs many Americans do not want to do. So how does President Trump make sure that the effort to deport people who are not in this country legally doesn't end up hurting Americans who want safe borders, absolutely, but also don't want to see even more higher prices in groceries?
Now, there are a couple of things going on here with Tapper's question. First, of course, he must paint illegal aliens in a sympathetic light by calling them undocumented workers. Then he tries to construct a problem in order to make his story. He's not reporting news. He's not questioning Miller on the news. He's trying to create a false connection between Trump's efforts to target criminal illegal aliens and the high food prices that supposedly could result from his effort. Miller begins by first putting the illegal alien problem into the proper context.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's not your position, Jake, you're just asking the question, that we should supply America's food with exploitative illegal alien labor. I obviously don't think that's what you're implying. Only 1% of alien workers in the entire country work in agriculture. The top destination for illegal aliens are large cities like New York, like Los Angeles, and small industrial towns, of course, all across the heartland, as we've seen with the Biden floods.
1% work in agriculture. 1%. The majority who come here illegally end up on welfare. They are a net drag on our system. We should not be paying people who come here illegally to simply exist. The people we allow to come in this country should be productive contributors to our society. Tapper pushed back, saying Miller was trying to dodge the question. This is when Miller goes full Jedi on him.
The illegal aliens that Joe Biden brought into our country are not full stop doing farm work. They are not. The illegal aliens he brought in from Venezuela, from Haiti, from Nicaragua, they are not doing farm work. They are in our cities collecting welfare. As for the farmers, there is a guest worker program that President Trump supports. Over time as well, we will transition into automation, so we'll never have to have this conversation ever again. But there's no universe in which this nation is going to allow the previous president to flood our nation with millions and millions of illegal aliens who just get to stay here. And we are especially not going to allow a subset of those illegal aliens to rape and murder our citizens.
Just awesome. That was Stephen Miller. Then, over the weekend, Vice President JD Vance appeared on CBS's Face the Nation and basically was asked why our food prices aren't already down after just 1 week in office.
You experience at the grocery store, or what people touch and feel. That's what you were talking about, bacon on the campaign trail.
Of course. of course.
Those things, when do consumers actually get to touch and feel a difference in their lives?
Well, but Margaret, how does bacon get to the grocery store? It comes on trucks that are fueled by diesel fuel. If the diesel's way too expensive, the bacon's going to become more expensive. How do we grow the bacon? Our farmers need energy to produce it. So if we lower energy prices, we are going to see lower prices for consumers, and that is what we're trying to fight for.
It's interesting that Biden could go 4 years and the media tried to cover for open borders, inflation, and failed foreign policy. 1 week into the job, and Trump still hasn't brought down food prices. Did you note that Jake Tapper hit on the same theme as well? Vance was also asked about taking a step back from allowing tens of thousands of Afghan refugees into the country until the vetting process is reformed and a proper process is implemented.
We absolutely cannot unleash thousands of unvetted people into our country.
These people
it's
are
not
vetted.
good.
These people are vetted.
Just like the guy who planned a terrorist attack in Oklahoma a few months ago, he was allegedly properly vetted, and many people in the media and the Democratic Party said that he was properly vetted. Clearly he wasn't. I don't want my children to share a neighborhood with people who are not properly vetted, and because I don't want it for my kids, I'm not going to force any other American citizens' kids to do that either.
No, and that was a very particular case. It wasn't clear if he was radicalized when he got here or while he was living here.
I don't really care, Margaret. I don't want that person in my country, and I think most Americans agree with me.
And then, of course, we have the debut of White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, who fielded a number of questions from reporters focused on attacking the administration rather than reporting the news. Leavitt was asked about the pause in certain areas of government spending, and she wasted no time in pointing out where some of the money would have ended up going.
During this pause, DOJ and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. DOJ and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on, being good stewards of tax dollars.
Can you believe this? $50 million for condoms in Gaza. Leavitt was asked during the course of the briefing on whether she would be truthful in her responses, and her answer is just classic.
While I vowed to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is wrong or there is misinformation about this White House. So yes, I will hold myself to the truth, and I expect everyone in this room to do the same.
Competency and control. That's what we're seeing out of this White House, and it extends far beyond the 3 people I showed in this segment. Every member of the Trump team is focused on the job and delivering for the American people. All right, next let's talk about Trump's mass deportations. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, regardless of platform, just search out my name, hit that subscribe button, make sure notifications are turned on. That way you can follow the show and help us grow. Okay, next let's talk about President Trump, Tom Homan, and the entire ICE division, which is wasting no time in going after criminal illegal aliens and getting them out of the country. I use that phrase, criminal illegal aliens, to denote those who have committed additional crimes in addition to the federal crime of being in this country illegally. Here's an update on the progress.
The most recent numbers right now, which have been updated this morning, at least by NBC News, was able to report this. It's even higher than this. It's at, I believe, 2,681 detained. Again, more than 2,600 detained at this point. That is by NBC News. So the number continues to go up. That is 7 days into this new administration.
The progress has been incredible, and already the media are complaining. One issue that has been raised by NBC News and other outlets is the fact that not all of the people arrested so far have other criminal charges pending against them. Border Czar Tom Homan has said the focus of the arrests and deportations was the worst first. That's great, but here's the deal. It's highly unlikely that some of these murderers, rapists, drug dealers, and human traffickers are just hanging out alone, like bin Laden in a cave. They are probably hanging out with other people here illegally. And if those people guilty of breaking federal law, are rounded up in the process, so be it. They shouldn't be here in the first place.
Chicago, Illinois, we want to arrest public safety threats. We got all of government approach. We got U.S. Marshals, we got FBI, we got ATF, we got DEA, we got ICE, we got HSI, we got them all here. So the president's plan of all of government to attack illegal alien crime in this city, we're going to address it today, starting now.
Tom Homan isn't messing around, and that is exactly what the American people voted for. Get rid of the criminals and keep Americans safe. All right, next let's talk about General Mark Milley, who was a disaster during Trump's first term in office and who continued to make a mockery of military readiness, morale, and lethality by pushing woke policies and DEI. Now, all of Milley's subversive actions may be coming home to roost.
But they did single out General Mark Milley. He had his security detail taken away last night, and he could lose a star in retirement if it is determined that he was undermining the chain of command during the first Trump administration.
Now, the legacy media are likely to try and spin this as Trump's retribution tour, but the reality of this situation is that Washington, D.C. has become a corrupt cesspool of deep state operatives who do not follow chain of command, presidential directives, or even represent the will of the American people. When you have officials who violate the Constitution and who run a shadow government, those officials need to go. Here's more.
The Secretary informed General Milley today that he is revoking the authorization for his security detail and suspending his security clearance as well. The Secretary has also directed the DoD IG to conduct an inquiry into the facts and circumstances surrounding General Milley's conduct so that the Secretary may determine whether it is appropriate to reopen his military grade review determination.
This is fantastic. No security detail, no security clearance, and a review of his past behavior, which may end up costing him a star. This is what happens when you put the deep state over the American people. Now, there are more Mark Milleys out there, and they all need to be cleaned out. And next, here's some rapid-fire headlines from around the country. The fashion magazine Vogue, which completely ignored First Lady Melania Trump during Trump's first term, is now on the attack. This time, they are ripping apart the First Lady's official White House portrait. Vogue writes, "The choice to wear a tuxedo as opposed to a blazer or blouse made Trump look more like a freelance magician than a public servant," end quote. How pathetic. But this is the same magazine that fawned over Michelle Obama and Dr. Jill. And next, despite what the legacy media are telling you, minority groups in New York City are cheering the ICE raids. As reported by the New York Post, quote, New York City residents in Hispanic and Black communities that supported President Trump in huge numbers in the 2024 election hailed Tuesday's local immigration raids that nabbed scores of suspected heinous criminals, end quote. Get them the hell off of here, quote. Get them the hell off the street so people don't have to walk in fear, said Evelyn Brown, 80, a Bronx resident from Jamaica who voted for Trump. Friends, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, today's show's one sheet is available to Patreon supporters using the link in the description. The one sheet gives you the links to all the videos and stories used on today's show, so you can dive even deeper into each issue. And with that, our next show will be Monday evening at the usual time. Until then, I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.